Good evening and welcome to another session of Playing from the Tips here at beautiful Harbor Hills Country Club. Again, I'm with the head teaching pro and head pro here at Harbor Hills, Tom Lineberger. And also as a guest tonight, we have Joe Redoutey with us from Redoutey Golf. And guys, quite a lot has happened over the last week, and we've got a lot to talk about, but I also see you've got some really interesting looking clubs at your side there, Joe. Why don't you tell us what you got there?
Well, we've talked about some of them before. Let's talk with the...
Remind us. I like it.
All right. Well, first of all, this is my new head. It was a year and a half in design and everything. It's now available. It's one of only two heads in the entire United States that are all titanium.
Oh.
You know, everybody else tells you, well, yeah, you've got a titanium driver. No, you don't. You have a stainless steel driver and a titanium face welded onto it. But that's not what we're here to talk about, because all we want people to know is we now have our demos in. We will have our shipment will arrive the 1st of September. So if you want to come over and be fitted, we've got all the heads fitted up on our various shafts and everything, particularly our hazard shafts. That's completely taken over the PGA Tour. So you can come over, call, make an appointment, 753-3120. Okay.
753-3120. I got to repeat it, Joe. You always got to repeat it.
Always got to talk. Always got to talk numbers, don't
Yeah.
So there's more than one hazard shaft, though. There's different
This
styles.
is what we're going to talk about. This was the original shaft that became available about 3 months ago. This particular shaft is a general shaft. I got to caution people when we fit them for this particular shaft. You better aim it where you're going to hit it, because it hits balls just straight as a string. So anybody that has trouble with Army golf, left, right, these woods, those woods, etc., this shaft just straightens them out in a minute. So that was the first shaft. Then it was followed up by Old Yellow here. Old Yellow here is a completely different shaft. This particular shaft hits the ball just a little bit higher, has a little more kick down at the bottom of it, and it has a beautiful, beautiful trajectory. It's a very lively shaft. When the ball hits the ground, it's moving. So you can get somewhere between 18 to 25 extra yards with this shaft because of the rollout factor on the fairways once it hits the ground. Now, here's the big news for this week. I'm going to show you something here. Bob and Tom, you haven't seen this yet, have you?
What is it?
This is the latest hazard shaft. We started with the black, the yellow. Now this is for the average player here. Now take a peek at this. Feel this and hold it.
All right, I'm going to do that. Oh.
Okay, now this shaft has a little more flexible tip. And what it does is it gets the ball up in the air a little easier for the average amateur, and it's very, very, very accurate. So this just came out Monday.
You wouldn't believe what this feels. This feels like I picked up a tooth. I mean, this is
It's like a dollar bill.
Yeah.
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Tom, you haven't really got to see it yet. You see me walking around with it, but
Super light.
Oh my
yep,
gosh.
super light, and it has all the abilities to cut down on the spin rate, to hit the ball straight and far. All of these shafts will give you more accuracy and more distance. So if that's what you're looking for, combined with our new Joe Red head, they're phenomenal. Now I got another surprise for you. This
Joe,
just came out Monday.
Monday.
what's the percentage of tour players that are playing their Project X? I know that they had some stats on it.
In the last two tournaments, the British Open and I think it was the Barbasol, wasn't it?
Yep, Barbasol.
Right.
That was played here in the United States. 77% of the players were playing hazard shafts.
So it didn't take the tour players long to figure
Yeah,
out.
Not very long at all.
They were able to pick up the accuracy and distance message real quick, I think.
Now here's something else too. Remember I said this came out just Monday?
Yeah.
Monday.
All right, folks. Redoutey Golf don't sit on its thumbs. here it's ready for you to come and demo. We've already got it on ahead, it's ready to go. I don't know, there's not too many people with a shaft that True Temper just came out with Monday. Thursday, we can have it here in Brody Golf at Harbor Hills in a club head, ready for you to hit. So that's the complete makeup, the complete line of shafts.
So, Joe, what about, I know I teach for a living, how important is the tee shot? Sets up the whole hole for you.
You know, Tom, there's an old saying in golf, you drive for show and putt for dough.
Yeah.
You know, that's quite a fallacy as far as I'm concerned. The problem with that is if you can't get your drive out there far enough to get the doggone ball on the green on your next shot, then you're not gonna be putting for dough.
Yeah.
You're gonna be chipping for dough and missing four putter.
Or you're driving for
putters.
show, putting for triple bogey, which I've done on a few occasions.
That's exactly right. And I know when I was talking to Greg this week and everything, he couldn't get over the array of colors and stuff that people have come up with as far as these shafts go. Well, what we want to do and what True Temper wants to do, both with our red head and the other thing with the colors on these shafts, we want somebody standing one fairway over saying, what kind of club is that there?
And look where he, is that where he hit his drive? Holy mackerel.
That's right. I'll tell you what, too, Tom, let's just touch a little bit on the golf course here at Harbor Hills. Son of a gun, these fairways are really rounding into shape, aren't they?
Yeah. Fairways are good, and, Brian Grillo and his staff, they've done a really good job. We did aerify our greens this year. Just this week, we did the deep tine aerification.
Wow.
He's hopefully going to be on the show next week and going to talk a little bit about agronomy and what it takes to maintain Bermuda grass compared to bent grass.
Fantastic.
But it's greens are coming around good. So they're going to be about probably a week or so away from really putting well. Fairways, like you said, are looking really good.
Well, you know, back when I first started playing golf here back in the 90s, people used to come from all over Central Florida to come to Harbor Hills to play our greens and everything. And I'll tell you what, Mr. Rich is doing a great job. He's opened his pocketbook. He wants our greens back that way. Now, it isn't our fault. Everybody has had problems with our greens.
Everybody.
It's not just Harbor Hills.
Everybody.
Folks. And Mr. Rich is spending the money to get this place back in shape as quick as we can. But, unfortunately, you just don't go out and throw some grass seed out there and tomorrow you've got perfect greens. It takes some growing time. But, buddy, we're doing everything we can to make this place one of the premier places to come and play golf. The other thing, the weather's been a little hot, guys.
Yeah, a little bit.
What
record
do you think,
heat?
Tom?
It's the hottest
Mid
that
to
I
high
can
90s.
remember.
I don't remember it like this.
And we, trying to play in the afternoon right now is impossible.
Yeah.
It's 104,
Can't
108
be-
degrees with a heat
Can't be
index,
done. Can't be done.
and every day is 97, 98
Can't
degrees.
be done.
I got a little something I want to show you guys here. We just got these in, and we've got 4 of them in. We've got 1 left, and this is a little fan, and what it does.
Beautiful.
That's just on low speed, and if you speed it up, it's now going 20 miles an hour.
Well, for all the ones that have their own personal carts, the nice part about this is you can set it in your own cart
Oh,
and turn
yeah,
it on.
yeah. Yeah,
Which
look
is,
here.
you don't have to hold it. I mean, it's designed to set in the golf
It's
cart.
hard to have this here in one hand and try to hit a ball. So all we do is this just screws into the bottom here. That goes and it sets down in the cup holder
Yeah,
on your
right.
golf cart. Now you know what's neat about this though? Let's say, what about the guys that don't have their own golf carts? Let's say we've got people that come in here from over in the villages and they bring their fan along. They can use it here at our course and then take it back to their course.
Right.
So we've got these. We thought we'd just try them out because I know some guys have been really having problems with this hot weather. So
Sure.
it's kind of a neat little item, and you can call us at Brody Golf if you would like to come and see it, and we can order them in for you. But I think it's
It's pretty cool, huh?
It's
I like it, but
But
I'm bummed. Yeah, that's all right.
Well, it is a pretty cool little item, pardon the pun. But the thing that the reason we got it in, there's not a lot of money in this for us. The reason we got it in is we seen our guys out here struggling, and the gals too. And, we've got in this area with the hundreds, 115, 20, 25,000 golfers we got in this area. I mean, our area right here surrounding Lady Lake, it's an older crowd and they don't take the heat as well as they used to. So if you're having a problem with the heat, come and see us. We'll let you take it out on the course and try it out.
You know what, they don't take the heat as well as they used to, but they don't admit to it. So I mean, the idea is to, this is out here, and it's available for you right now. You can get it from Brody, and I'll tell you what, I'm getting mad watching people try to prove things to themselves they don't need to prove to themselves, which is I can make it through this. So I'm not feeling that great, but I can drive my way through it. No, you can't. You got to cool off a little bit, and that's going to help you.
Well, just to give you an example, yesterday in the MGA play day and everything, and this was in the morning, and we had 3 guys that they had to quit yesterday.
The heat's definitely a factor.
Because of the heat and everything.
You got to drink enough water. I mean, people, I know this year I've had trouble with the heat, and you have to drink half your body weight in ounces. So if I'm about 190, so I've got to drink 90 ounces of water. That's not included if you're down in the heat. That's almost a glass of water every hour that you're awake. Yeah. So you're drinking water constantly. And it's tough. I mean, I've been trying to drink a lot you feel like you always got a drink in your hand right now to stay hydrated.
Well, is Joe going to stay with this for the second section, or are we wrapping up after?
No. Oh, no.
Oh, we're going to
Joe's
kick him
out.
out?
Listen, I can't stay. My wife's sitting right over there.
He's going to dinner. Joe's going to dinner.
Well, let's do this real quick. Let me just talk again. We just saw. You got to come try. You got to come swing these, folks. I put them in my hands. I fell in love with them. Now you throw in the extra accuracy and an extra 20, 25 yards. It's to die for. You got to come out here and you got to swing these clubs. I guarantee you'll want one.
Kevin that works for me in the shop, he hit the red driver with a red head. Never broke 80 before. Shot 78. And he contributes it to the driver setting him up on every hole. Hit it farther than he's ever hit any driver. So he had a shorter club indel out of the greens, set him up to have a chance to break 80 for the first time. So he was real excited.
Well, we laughed at Kevin too when he was doing this. He hit on one hole. He hit his driver, and then hit this driver, and then he stepped it off, and he hit this driver 35 yards past his driver, which he hit as well as he could hit it to begin with. So folks, if you're struggling with distance, our biggest saying that we've had for years and years and years is Brody Golf. Remember, everything is custom fit for you, and if your clubs don't fit right, they won't hit right.
I love it. With that, we'll wrap it up for our first segment of the show, and want to thank Joe Redoutey again for coming and telling us what Brody Golf has in store for us. Not only fantastic clubs, but a very, very handy-dandy, great-looking fan that will keep you cool in this ridiculous heat that we've been facing. But we'll be back. We have a lot more to discuss, and we'll be back with the second part of Playing from the Tips right after this. We're back with the second round of Playing from the Tips here at beautiful Harbor Hills Country Club. And I'm with Tom Lineberger, who is the head teaching pro at Harbor Hills. And so you know who to see for all the latest in equipment tips and just great buys, some great products here. But we have a special guest, and his name is Chris Kessler. And Chris Kessler is going to fit, just like a golf glove fits a golfer. I can't think of a more important individual to get somebody's golf game back in alignment than a chiropractor. And Chris, share us a little bit about your background, where you went to school, what brought you into chiropractic, and what you've been doing up till now.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the golf arena for quite some time because of my father. My father is Peter Kessler, who hosted television shows for the Golf Channel for well over 10 years, had a radio show on Sirius XM for quite a long time,
Wow.
and also started the Perfect Club Company, which is really the first hybrid club out on the market in the United States. And so I've been around golf. My whole family plays golf, and it's been quite interesting to start to work with a lot of golfers as I finally became a doctor of chiropractic and helping them on their road. I originally am from Westchester County, New York.
Are you really?
Absolutely.
All
I was
right.
there until I was 16.
Oh,
Then my
doggone.
family moved down to Orlando when I was 16, so that my father took the job at the Golf Channel at that point. I went to school at University of Miami. I did something completely unrelated to chiropractic there. I was studying music business and literature and broadcasting as well. So I studied those kind of three, kind of following in the footsteps of my father. Afterwards, I took a job for the Perfect Club Company because I had an in at that point, and worked as basically the head of customer service and club development for them for about 3 years. After that, took a little jaunt over to Japan where I lived for 2 years, which really sparked my interest into alternative healthcare. After living there for 2 years, I came back, finished all my prerequisites for school, and went to Palmer College of Chiropractic here in Florida, just south of Daytona in Port Orange, Florida. And so that's kind of the quick synopsis of where I've been.
Well, that's fairly impressive. I'll tell you what. I know you obviously understand golf, but explain to me, because sometimes I can't figure it out. Where do the aches and pains that most golfers encounter, or they come to you with? I mean, what's the genesis of it? Where do they originate from usually?
Sure. I mean, there's a big reason why every single professional player, for the most part, has a chiropractor that they work with. Why Jordan Spieth thanks his
Right.
chiropractor after each round. The biggest thing that we see with golfers coming in is definitely a lower back and or what we call specifically an SI joint issue. Obviously, in the golf swing, you want to be able to make a nice backswing and get nice and through to a full finish. What I see with a lot of golfers is that they're either unable to get back, or most of the time, since most of us are right-handed, I'm finding that most of these players are actually having a hard time getting to a full finish. And so if I see somebody out on the driving range, I can usually tell by watching a couple of their shots what is exactly wrong with their back. And for example, if I watch a right-handed golfer and I see him on the driving range, a lot of the guys out here in the villages, I see one of two shots, either one that's going to go low and to the right or a big old hook. So a lot of times they'll be working on it. Now, unfortunately, at the end of the day, it's not really their fault that they're hitting that shot. What's really happening is they have an anatomical issue that's not allowing them to, number one, pivot onto the right side, and number two, pivot onto the left side. Because at the end of the day, the golf swing is pretty simple. You're going to go back and you're going to go through. But if something's impeding that process, we have a problem.
Let me interrupt only because I find that fascinating. So you can tell when somebody's swinging.
Yep.
But to the layperson like myself, I would think there'd be there's just a flexibility issue. The guy's not as loose as he should be.
Sure.
But maybe that feeds right into what you're talking about. Maybe because of some kind of an alignment problem where they can't get the flexibility that they need.
Flexibility is huge. I mean, but at the end of the day, all your muscles attach to joints and they attach to bones. So if your joints are not moving like they should, then all of a sudden, a lot of times your muscles are going to go into spasm to protect. The SI joint is the thing I see all the time on most golfers. It's the number one thing I treat on golfers, and it's what allows them to pivot properly, and at the end of the day, it allows them to get a fuller finish, and it allows them to have more motion. The SI joint is located in the lower back. Tom, you want to stand
I
up?
was gonna
Can
say-
I give you my best side here?
That's it, yeah.
So I hope
all right,
this
guys.
involves hitting him
Sorry,
with
everybody.
something.
The SI joint is located down here. Okay, it's the combination where the sacrum, which is the triangle at the bottom of your spine, comes together with your iliums. Okay, so that's your sacroiliac joint. You have one on the right and one on the left. It is supposed to move 4 to 6 degrees forward and back, and 4 to 6 degrees like this. Tom, you can sit down. I think it gives them a pretty clear picture. But the biggest thing that we see, right-handed golfers who come back on that right side, what ends up happening is that SI joint on the right will get stuck. It will stop moving in its proper motion. And what happens is the muscles on your right lower back will go into spasm as a result. So for what will happen is that player will be able to pivot off the left onto his right side, but they're anatomically, if it's stuck, if it's not moving properly from a chiropractic standpoint, he has no chance
There's no
whatsoever to pivot off the right to get onto his left side. So what's going to happen? He's either going to come underneath the
Bad
ball,
shot.
open it up, and hit it way out to the right, or he's going to overcompensate with his arms because he can't get over there and hit that dreaded hook.
Well, that just boggles my mind because we all want to act like, well, we're a little stiff or we got a little pain today, but we can play our way through it. I'll just take an extra a leave or something. And I think, all the pros, what Chris said is right. All the pros have their own personal chiropractors because they're the ones that can tell if somebody's running into a problem with their swing that maybe they're not even picking up on. Am I right?
Absolutely, but stretching is huge. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't stretch. I mean, one of the things I give to all of our golfers, in addition to all of our patients who have lower back issues, is a wobble disc. Okay, this is something that you can put onto your chair and you sit on it. And for golfers or anybody who has any kind of issue as you age, you sit on this, and I would have you rock side to side, forward and back, and in big circles. For the average golfer out there, especially one who's getting a little bit older, to utilize this for 5 to 6 minutes or even bring it onto the golf cart with him, which I see a lot of guys doing here in the villages. I've seen them on their golf carts as they're
That's
waving to
pretty
me
good.
as I'm driving by. It's one of the greatest things that you can do to open up your lower back because it's really going to cause you to actively stretch. Passive stretch is not the best for golf. Active stretching, where you're physically moving and activating those muscle fibers, is one of the greatest things that you can do, not only for golf, but for any type of activity, especially one that's going to put so much stress on the lower back.
Well, it's interesting you brought that up because I was going to say, I know some guys get in their car and drive 20 miles to the golf on a cart or in their car and they drive 20 miles or 20 minutes to the pro shop and they're ready to tee up and already they're locked up and stiff because you got the air conditioning blasting, whatever.
Absolutely.
And is that so? You're saying go to that right off the bat? You can use that anywhere, anytime, or is it?
Absolutely. That's why a lot of the golfers that we work with like this, because they can throw it in the back of their trunk. Whenever they get to where they're going, they can throw it on the golf cart, and it's a really easy way to warm up for 5 or 6 minutes. I mean, I see guys on the range doing all kinds of stretches and trying to put this way and that. Sometimes I see some legs being stretched, and I see some arms being stretched, and sometimes I see things that I'm not sure exactly what they're stretching.
Chris,
But-
what's the cost of that? If somebody wanted to buy those from you, what's the fee?
I think it's like $30 in the office,
Yeah.
something like that.
29. You got to learn this.
So that would be one right there.
$29.95 for all of our
$29.95.
That's
See,
correct.
Chris,
Under $30.
loosen your hips up before you play.
Yeah, I mean, but one of the most important things is we see golfers who go out and they have an injury on the course. And usually it's either a result of, number one, as Tom was talking before, if someone's not drinking enough water. And he hit 100% correct. If you're not drinking at least half your body weight in ounces a day, you are doing your body a disservice. You're made up of mostly water. And if you don't feed your body of what it's made of, you're not going to have the flexibility. And number two, with that, I don't see them putting in enough motion beforehand. So warming up properly and proper hydration is absolutely key to preventing disease. And number three, getting checked by someone like me or a chiropractor in their area is just paramount and so important because I can actually keep you from getting injured on the course.
And it's like for me, we met through the chamber originally. Then I had the injury with a black bear attacking my car. So
You're the only one still who's had that,
Had that one.
intake form.
that's interesting. But talking about a career in golf, it's and I don't play as much as the village is, and our members play like 3 or 4 times a week. It's really a maintenance schedule where you should see someone like yourself once a month, just to get back in line.
Of course.
And it's not about, for me, it's not about I have an injury, so I have to go see you now. It's about preventing the injury. It's, ahead of time going, all right, instead of going, I got a little tweak, I'm going to keep playing for another month or two. Then that becomes inflamed, stuck, and now you got more
Well, I
problems.
was just going to say the problems, you've already created the problem. You're
Exactly.
already a step behind the chiropractor, I would think.
It's
To go in there and say, I'm hurting so bad I can't see straight.
And a lot of guys have got that macho mentality. I'm a tough guy.
I
Yeah.
can play my way through it as you visit him in the hospital.
It's a lot easier for me to keep you feeling good and keep you playing well now than it is for me to get you out of pain once you hurt yourself. And so coming to see someone like me in the office, we can analyze properly your biomechanics, get you moving properly so you're not going to have that tendency to injure yourself on the golf course.
Well, does that make sense to everybody? It sure makes a heck of a lot of sense to me. I don't see, I'm one of those guys that thinks that I'm indestructible until I get to the 7th hole, and now I can't even bend over and pick up my tee. And by that time, it just proves that I'm not very smart. And this is where you've got to employ somebody like Chris to, preventative is the key. Why you don't want to be fixed after you hurt yourself. You want to be taken care of so you don't get hurt to begin with. Does that make any sense?
So, but the other thing, backing Chris up on this is people want a fix like, oh, I'm going to get a 47-inch driver and I'm going to hit the ball better, or I'm going to get this new sand wedge that I can hit from anywhere over everything and stop it. But you can't hit at the average player, even the good, you can't hit any shots if your body's not going to work right.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, the first tool that you have in your golf bag is your own body. People don't think about that. That's the main club, is you've got to get your body to respond right. And I teach a lot of players, and they can't move, and they can't move because they're locked up. And I said, you need to go to a chiropractor, you need to go to a fitness trainer. We need to get you some stretching and some exercises and get your body to move better.
Tell you what, hold that thought too, because we're wrapped up with this section. We're going to be coming back with Chris, and we're going to be talking a lot more. And Chris also has another component of his expertise that is really going to be fitting for golfers, and we'll get into that. But we'll be back with round 3 of Playing from the Tips right after this. We're squeezing the time. Cool. We're back with the 3rd round of Playing from the Tips here at beautiful, beautiful Harbor Hills Country Club. Of course, I'm with Tom Lineberger, who is the head teaching pro here at Harbor Hills, and our special guest, Chris Kessler, who is a doctor of chiropractic medicine. And so far, we've been getting the straight scoop on preventatively how to keep yourself going. And Tom, I interrupted you at the end of the last segment. You were making a point about the swing and
yeah, well, the next thing that we were going to talk about, I think that would be beneficial, and I've already gone through it because I've had my left arch has been an issue with me since I think a basketball injury. And when I had Chris work on my back, we got talking about your feet, and your feet. Obviously, power in golf comes from the ground up, and your balance comes from your feet. You've got to have. I know that I do like different yoga exercises with little kids and try to do them the tree pose on one leg and on the other leg, trying to teach the kids balance and the receptors from that. But you've got some new technology. You can explain the laser therapy that you did with your feet. You actually step on a machine and it takes a laser print of your foot, and based on that, you have magnetic therapy that goes along with it in the orthotics.
That's correct.
So you could probably elaborate better than I can on
sure.
the product, but that's a little bit. I know there's a lot of benefits to it. If your feet hurt, you look at. I'm a big Red Sox fan, and Big Papi for the Red Sox, he's going to retire not because he can't hit. He can't run, he said. His feet are killing him, and he's got to get out of baseball because of his feet.
Yeah, I mean, in our office, people, normally come in with back pain and neck pain and shoulder pain and ankle pain, knee pain. And sometimes we find that the dysfunction in and of itself is not really coming from the back, and sometimes it's not coming from the knee itself, and a lot of times it's coming from your foundation, which is your foot. If your foundation is not solid, your entire body has to accommodate appropriately. And so what can happen is, let's say, for example, your right foot is rolling in more than it should. At the bottom of both of your feet, you should have 3 solid arches. Really, when you strike the ground, ideally, and this isn't for everyone, but ideally, the ideal person should strike the ground and they should only have pressure on their heel, their toes, and the base of their toes. And what I see with a lot of people, especially as they age, they start to lose those arches. And what happens is, as a result, as that arch starts to fall on one side more than the other, the knee is going to go with it. And then the hip is going to drop. And then usually what happens is the opposite shoulder will drop to try to accommodate, because your body's doing everything it can to keep you centered.
Balance.
And I see that a lot of times with guys on the golf course. You know, I see them on the driving range, and just at address, they are just not anatomically where they should be. And so what we found with a lot of people, and especially golfers, are having amazing, amazing results. I mean, as I said before, you know, we work on the SI joint for golfers, and the big thing that they come back and say is, you know what, Doc, I'm able to get further back, I'm able to get further through, I'm able to hit the ball further. But when we get them a proper orthotic, it's even better, because what we're able to do is we're able to properly align the body at address, and then they can take even more advantage of the full motion. So what happens is we can actually put an orthotic into their shoe.
And you actually have one that's golf specific too.
We do.
now,
They have
which
what's
is kind of
called-
neat.
yeah, it's called a Par Flex Plus, and it kind of looks like this. And what happens is, what we do when you come into the office, we're going to first do an evaluation of you, and that evaluation is you're going to get onto a 3D scanner. You take your shoes off, take your socks off. We put you on the 3D scanner. And that has an infrared light in it. And that infrared light is going to read where your foot's contacting, where it's not, and what your weight distribution is. Based on your reading, we're going to show you a summary of how you're actually standing, where your arches have been lost, how that's affecting your body, and then I'm going to get you an orthotic built specifically to fit your foot. And when we do so, all of a sudden that person who wasn't standing properly starts to even out. And I tell them, I said, listen, we're all of a sudden, we're going to actually improve your foundation. You're going to feel like some muscle strain in different areas. If you've haven't worked out in a while, all of a sudden you might feel some strange back pain.
You're using muscles you haven't used, right?
That's absolutely correct,
sure.
yeah. And these are postural deep muscles. These are ones you're definitely going to feel. So there's a break-in process. But they have a golf-specific one, which is pretty incredible. They've actually incorporated magnets into the bottom of them, and what has been proven to show and document, with that increase in polarity in the magnets and the positive increase of ions in your body, you're actually going to increase club head speed up to 5 miles per hour. So all of a sudden, I have a golfer come in, I'm clearing up their SI joints, I'm getting them more club head speed. That's a guy who's going to want to keep coming in because we keep his game properly tuned. Your body and your golf game needs to be properly tuned, just like your car. And if I can help you with that, I mean, it's absolutely fantastic.
What's the different color codes on them? I know. Does it mean?
Yeah, these are just some different ones that we have in the office. I mean, literally, what happens on these are just different. What happens? The first 85% of the orthotic is basically the same, Tom. It's fitted for your foot. But there's different ones for different scenarios. We have some that are meant for people who are having more type of industrial work or outside, who's going to be working on concrete. We have some for long distance runners. The long distance runner ones are actually going to be a little bit thinner so they can actually move their foot around a little bit more. If it was a little bit higher, it would cause a little bit of a problem for them for long distance runners. We have some that are made for high heels. We have some that are made for golfers, some that are made for older people. It depends on the amount of activity they're doing as well.
It's interesting, the technology, how it's
Absolutely
tailor-made
fantastic.
for their careers.
Absolutely.
Well, just what you were saying, in fact, just going further on what you're talking about, if you don't take care of the base, that's where you start to develop the problems,
Absolutely.
right? Because people, I get into trouble all the time trying to compensate, like, well, oh, that doesn't bother me, I got a bunion or something in my, and all of a sudden I'm changing my swing and I'm trying to do everything so it doesn't feel that bad, and I wonder why all of a sudden the scores keep getting more and more crooked. So it's, but I just think it's, I know there's guys out there just like me, the guys that are trying to play through stuff they shouldn't be playing through, and here's the guy, so,
One other thing the orthotic helps to do is really helps to promote your body being in an anatomical position. And in our office, we practice a type of chiropractic that most individuals aren't familiar with. A lot of individuals might go into a chiropractor's office and they say, Doc, it hurts over here, and that doc might adjust or put some motion back into that segment and say, oh, okay, well, come on back when you need us again. Mm-hmm. We go a couple steps further. I mean, your body has to have its proper curvature and proper angles in order to work properly. That's why I say to every patient of mine who comes in who has a lower back issue, I say, we're going to do some rehab with you, and I want you to imagine while we're doing that rehab that you're standing like Jordan Spieth or Tiger when he was playing good at address. Why? Because at address, the knees are flexed, and they start to impart that nice curvature into their lower back. I mean, everyone's lower back should have a nice 45-degree curve. Like this, okay? You should have that 45-degree curve in your lower back, and you should have it in your neck as well. If you start to lose that curvature, okay, if that curvature starts to straighten out and it starts to get compressed, then all of a sudden we have a problem. That's the person who's coming in whose neck hurts, who has pain down the arm, who has sciatica, shooting pain, starting in the low back, going through the butt, to the outside of the calf, and to the foot. Everything that we do in our office is to ensure that we can take that pressure off of that which has been compressed, start to restructure that spine, and start to work those curves back into their proper position. And that's called the Pedimon technique. We do that by doing basically a full 360-degree approach to the individual. And when we do that, we can properly analyze, well, why does this guy have arthritis? Why does he have pain? Why is he having all these issues? And just, as opposed to me just fixing you and saying, come on back when you need it, I'd much rather go a little bit further, work past your symptoms and find the actual cause of what's giving you your pain.
You get deferred pain too.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's where people think, oh, I got pain in my back, but it may be caused because of your feet or your knees.
That's what I mean,
or
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
another joint.
Yeah, but once again, line angles and the angles of the spine are absolutely crucial, not only for the everyday person, but the golfer themselves as well. Because if you lose those angles, you cannot anatomically turn and pivot and distribute your weight evenly. And if you can't do that, if your spine starts to go the wrong way, that's when things like degeneration start to set in, arthritis and stenosis. I have all these patients come into me and they say, oh, I have arthritis. Oh, okay, and maybe your doctor said you have arthritis, and I said, okay. But to me, that doesn't mean anything, because I want to know what kind of arthritis you have, and I'm going to sit down with you, and I'm going to figure out how you got it and what we can do to make sure it never gets any worse. And when we start to restore the body back to its proper anatomical position, all of a sudden that person has more range of motion. They have reduction of symptoms. They have reduced inflammation, increased blood flow. These are all the things that we want. In our clinic, we have tremendous results with people. And because we're not only getting them better, and they're seeing the changes and feeling them, but we also take before and after x-rays and show them, sir, this is where you were before. You had a lack of curvature in your cervical spine. And take a post x-ray after a number of treatments. Here you are now, and actually show them the difference. And that's an absolutely incredible thing to have them go through, because now all of a sudden they understand what got them wrong. They understand what to do now to keep them better. And they can actually see that we actually accomplished that together, which is pretty fantastic.
What about inversion tables? I know that they've been really popular.
Absolutely. I mean,
Are you in favor of how many minutes a person should be on it? Is there a time limit on
First of all, explain what that is exactly, because I don't know.
the inversion tables?
Yeah.
That'll get you, usually, you can probably explain it better. So you're going to put your feet in and you go upside down.
Okay.
So from a chiropractic standpoint, from a health standpoint, I think the benefit is that your weight is actually, you're always pushing down on your feet. Now your weight's going towards your head. You're going to get more blood flow to your head, but you're also letting your spine kind of relax and go in the other direction, which is going to lengthen it out. If you've got compressed vertebrae, it's going to kind of relieve that compression to a certain degree.
Yeah, I mean, people probably ask me that question every day. Doc, what about the teeter hang-up? What about the inversion table? What should I do on it? And I put up some red flags when I hear about the inversion tables first, because it's a table you're getting on and literally you're going to go upside down on it.
Correct.
So being here in the villages where we are, I work with a lot of an older population. And the issue is, when you go upside down, all of a sudden the blood and most importantly the oxygen to your brain, something is going to happen to it. For example, if I go on to an inversion table and I've tested, I put what's called a pulse oximeter on my finger that measures the amount of oxygen in my actual system. When I go upside down, a safe range is anywhere between 96 up to 100. When I go upside down, I drop instantly down to 87. Okay, so a teeter hang-up or an inversion table is absolutely contraindicative for me to be on there, because eventually if I stayed upside down long enough, I could lose oxygen to my brain and I could have a stroke. And now all of a sudden, if I have somebody who's older, who has issues with their heart, who has atherosclerosis, and they're going upside down for a long time, we can have a serious problem. So you have to be very careful when you go on one of those and make sure, number one, it's appropriate for you. And so it can be actually very hazardous to your health. Other issue is if I have someone who's been on the golf course and hurt their lower back, and they have those muscles in spasm, and that SI joint, like I talked about, is not where it should be, they go upside down, well, what's going to happen? Those muscles are in spasm with you standing up. They're going to be even in worse spasm when you go upside down. So it can actually, in a lot of cases, make things worse. So you got to make sure you're a proper candidate for it. I urge every single patient who talks to me about it to get their oxygen checked while they're on there. And once again, you have to make sure that your body's properly aligned.
So what if you recommended it for an individual, Is it a 30-second or a minute time limit? I mean, if you said minimal time on it and then
If-
come back up?
If someone's going to go on it, you got to go on for short periods of time before you come back up. But once again, you got to make sure it's appropriate for you. And for a lot of people, it's just not appropriate. Yeah, but if you're gonna go upside down, I wouldn't go more than 30 seconds if I was someone. Once you make sure it's appropriate for you.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, with that tidbit, we can ramp up the third round here, playing from the tips, and we'll be back with something you probably wouldn't expect a chiropractor to be talking about that really is going to have a significant impact in how you play golf. We'll be back talking with Chris on that with the fourth round of playing from the tips right after this. And that is nutrition.
I know I'm excited, Bob. You know why? Because every week on the show, we have somebody local that is just an outstanding person in the community.
That's right.
And I'll be honest, I'm proud of the show. It's been fun. This is like our 9th week. And just, I know we're going to talk about nutrition, but just finding that his company is doing a mission trip to give back to the community.
Wow.
And the big picture of life, you only go around once. Giving back is, and just the knowledge that you gave us tonight to our customers that watch this program, it's going to be beneficial. But let's talk a little bit about nutrition, and then we're going to talk about the mission trip. And I think
Sure.
it's exciting to have you on the show.
We'll be ready to go.
All right, yeah, I'm happy to be here.
You want us to go now?
You're bingo.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know
we're
that.
going.
Well, that shows you.
I took over for you for a second.
I like that.
Settle
Okay, I
down.
didn't even say welcome to
Settle down, Bob.
to the final round. I was going to throw the little golf analogy in. This is the final round of playing for the tips here at beautiful Harbor Hills. Tom Lineberger, the head teaching pro here, obviously felt that he could do a better job of starting it off than me. That's
good.
okay. But more importantly, getting back to our guest, Chris Kessler, a doctor of chiropractic medicine. We had talked off camera about that you had some ideas, nutritional ideas that should really help some people out. So I think it's going to be, as opposed to me grabbing a 6-pack of Oreos before I go out to play my first round, I have a feeling it's going to be something a little more beneficial than that.
Absolutely. We get tons and tons of patients in the office who are just absolutely, truly hungry for nutrition information. And what they really want to know is, what can I do to prevent disease? Every Monday night in our office, we host a disease prevention seminar. It's either hosted by myself or Dr. John in the office.
What time is that at?
It's every Monday night in our office at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Yep, absolutely. Anyone can come, bring their friends, family, or loved ones.
And give us an address for that?
It's at our office. Our office is Legacy Clinic of Chiropractic.
Okay.
And the address is 1950 Laurel Manor Drive. And that's
In the village.
That's in the Villages, and it's Suite 204.
It's right off of 466. Easy to
Can't
get
miss-
to.
You know where Laurel Manor is.
Yeah.
It should be right. It's right. You're right there.
Right near the corner of 466 and Buena Vista.
Yeah,
But
perfect.
every Monday night, we share tons of disease prevention tips, things that you can do starting today to prevent disease tomorrow. And one of the big things that we hit on is nutrition. I mean, even at our office, we have an incredible weight loss program, and everyone, wants to lose weight, wants to feel better. Absolutely, it's going to help the golfers out there. The funny thing about weight loss is I see a lot of people going on these weight loss programs, and they lose a little bit of weight, and all of a sudden they put that weight right back on. And the issue is we find that a lot of those people are losing weight, but unfortunately they're not getting healthy in the process. And so we do a weight loss program that's really designed to get you healthy first. And when you get healthy first, you're going to lose weight as a byproduct. We have people having incredible results. I mean, our average is probably right around 25 to 27 pounds for an individual to lose, somewhere right in between 6 and 8 weeks. We had a guy come on the program recently. He lost 44 pounds in 9 weeks. I kept him on a very specific nutritional protocol afterwards. He went back up to Michigan, just wrote me on Facebook the other day. He's now up to 63 pounds lost.
Wow.
Looks absolutely incredible.
Well,
Fantastic.
people don't, society, America for sure, we want to take a pill for everything. But if you step back and look at it, your medicine is actually your food.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what people forget, is
That's
that
right.
we're a fast food nation. McDonald's has taken over the world, and,
Sure.
and boxed food has taken over the world. I know one of the first things I tried to get healthy is in the grocery store, just stay out of the middle.
Absolutely. Yeah, become
Number
a
one.
perimeter shopper.
Got to stay on the outside.
Yeah.
The devil's in the middle of the grocery store.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, for people, looking to lose weight, sometimes they say, well, I think I'm doing good, and they tell me about their diet, and they say, well, tell me about your breakfast. And one of the big things I hear in the Villages, people like to say, I had a nice big bowl of Cheerios for breakfast with a big old banana, and I'm doing some milk, and I'm doing pretty good. Unfortunately, for most people, if you're struggling with weight, and if you want to have good energy throughout the day, that's not a very good thing to have for breakfast. Ooh. Yeah, sorry if that's what you've been eating.
Oh, sorry, Bob, you're out.
I guess my friends must be wrong.
That's right. You know, what your body wants, especially first thing of the day and at most meals, is really good protein and really good fat. You know, especially for golfers as well, before they go out to that golf course, if they can get a good serving of protein and a good serving of good fats, yes, you want good fats for your body because it's going to help to reduce inflammation, it's going to help to increase blood flow, and it's going to be absolutely imperative for your brain function.
So what would you recommend for our nuts? I mean, in the morning?
Sounds right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nuts are good. I mean, if for most Americans, waking up and having something like 2 or 3 eggs, something like half of an avocado would be fantastic. For those that are on the go and they don't want to make anything, there's a wonderful supplement out there called Maximum Vibrance. And Maximum Vibrance is a combination of all different types of natural vegan proteins, so made from vegetables, and over 70 different types of grains, vegetables, and grasses, and all these things that you might most likely never have in your diet. And it's an incredible way to start your day. Only thing it doesn't have in it is good fat. So I'd add a little bit of good fat in the side. It's a wonderful supplement to take. Maximum Vibrance is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. Something that we highly promote in the office and we get a lot of patients on. Something that's great for golfers as well. I got my dad on it. My dad does not like greens. Never has, never will. He's not a spinach eater.
Yeah, I've got it. You've got, it's a little grainy. I mean,
Absolutely, yeah.
you've got to just suck it up. If you like wheat, it reminds me of wheatgrass.
It tastes exactly like what it's
It
made
does.
of, which is grass.
Which is grass. But it is good for you, that's for sure.
You know, and nutrition to start your day is absolutely imperative because not only will it make you healthier, it'll help you lose weight as well. I mean, one of the things we always talk about in our disease prevention seminars as well is supplements. People go, well, doc, I go to Walgreens, I go to Whole Foods, whatever. I'm trying to get a good supplement. The number one supplement for you to be on, no matter what, I don't care who you are, is vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 is one of the most important things for you to be on. Okay? If you're not taking vitamin D3, you need to start. And the most important thing to do before you even start on D3 is get your blood levels checked. And show me, Dr. Chris, I went and got my blood levels checked for D3. This is what they say my number is. How much should I start to incorporate into my daily routine?
So what is there, I'm not a doctor, so is there a D1 and a D2? Sounds like swing weight to me, a D3 driver. I need a D3 vitamin.
D3 is the most important vitamin of your immune system. So if you are deficient in D3, your immune system will not be good. And if your immune system's not good, then your brain function's not going to be where it's at. And if your brain function's not where it should be, then your entire gastrointestinal health will not be where it should be. So just taking one dose of vitamin D3, the proper amount once a day, can extremely heighten your immune system, your brain function, your overall gastrointestinal system, and greatly decrease inflammation as well.
My wife's on vitamin D, but is it vitamin D3 or is it just vitamin D? Is there a difference between the two?
Absolutely, there's a difference
Okay.
if you want vitamin D3.
Interesting.
Some companies, most companies now just do D3, but there are some still out there who just offer D, and you want to get the proper amount. But once again, the way to know your proper amount, get your blood tested, give me a call. I mean, in the office, we do free consults all the time. We do free nutritional consults, x-ray reviews.
So if I gave you
MRIs.
my blood work, you'd look at it and say, all right.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Most doctors don't test for that, so you have to ask them for it. It's a very cheap test, but it's an absolutely wonderful way for us to look at how well is your body functioning. 100%.
I might be crazy. Isn't vitamin D? Isn't milk the big driver there? Is it like a calcium? I mean, why is she on the vitamin D? I'm just curious.
It's something to do with her thyroid,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's tied into that, and the vitamin
then
D.
it's way over my head.
They have her on a
That's
thyroid
my
one, and then
that's
they
my
have a
last
vitamin D. I know that
tidbit
she's got to be on that. And they did
medicinally.
the blood work on it. Her doctor did the blood work and put her on the vitamin. But I didn't know that there was a D3 compared to a D, so that was something I learned. What about like during the round and after the round? I know that for me, I was doing boiled eggs and eating those in the morning, and I was
Sure.
doing the steel oats,
Yep.
and I was eating almonds and walnuts in the morning. So it's, but you feel better when you eat better whole foods for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, things that have one ingredient is the best thing to eat. Because an almond, what's the ingredient? Almond.
Almond.
Steak, what's the ingredient? Steak. When you can stick with things that have one ingredient, you're doing good. When you get down that middle aisle, like you were talking about in the supermarket, and you look at some
Double.
of those ingredients, If you can't pronounce them, and it's not,
sucrose,
and it's not something that you naturally keep in your cupboard,
They
you
should
need
call
to
it
stay
fat
away
crust.
from it. Sorry.
Maybe that's what they should call it, fat crust instead of sucrose.
Well, and I'll tell you what, as we're getting down to the last couple minutes, I wanted Chris to elaborate. His group is involved in a mission trip, and we're very blessed to have people that give so much back to the community. And this show, we've been lucky; we get lots of folks. But Chris, share with me what you guys are up to. This is spectacular
Sure.
to me.
I mean, when I was in chiropractic school, I had the incredible opportunity to go down onto a chiropractic mission trip down to the Dominican Republic and Haiti, where we got to treat. Well, in that group, that initial one, we had a big group, about 60 doctors, students, and volunteers, and we treated almost 50,000 people in 5 days,
Wow.
which is absolutely incredible.
Wow.
During that trip, I had the incredible opportunity to meet Dr. John Teek. And Dr. John Teek founded Legacy Clinic here in the Villages. And when I finished up school, he actually invited me to come on up because we stayed good friends ever since. And then I just haven't left yet, and it's been a few years now. And so I've been on that trip now. This year will be my 4th time going on the trip. I think for Dr. John, it's like his 7th time going on the trip. We're taking the entire staff down to Dominican Republic once again, and we're going to go and work in the Haitian villages. We're actually co-sponsoring with a group called Project Esperanza, which runs orphanages and different charitable events down there in Dominican Republic. And we're going to go down there, we're going to treat, and we're going to serve. And we're actually going next month. We
Awesome.
I think today we sold our last raffle ticket. And the past years we've done a golf tournament in order to sponsor everyone to go. This year we did a reverse raffle. We sold 200 tickets. One person's going to get to win $10,000, and the rest of the money goes to sending the entire staff on
Well,
the trip
if
itself.
you need a place for a golf tournament, we would love to host one.
We'd love to have one, yeah.
That would be great. And then
Absolutely.
we could, the other thing, so you went to Haiti too?
So we go right into the Haitian villages. On this trip particular, we're going to go in all in the Haitian villages in the Dominican Republic.
I've got
right on the border.
a good friend that does missionary work in Haiti, Chris Richardson, and he said he was amazed. He was talking about all the, and I don't know if you've had this with your group, all the voodoo that they do in Haiti.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get the experience too much of the voodoo, but I know it's out there. When
it
we
was
go
amazing.
down there, it's crazy because they go out, they tell the people in the community that there's some doctors coming, and we have lines that are just down the block. We bring every single thing that we can with us, and we try to spend as much time with the patients as we can, but we go to orphanages, and we go to hospitals, and we go to communities, and we go to places where they just don't have any health care.
He
And we
took it
just
for
give and
granted.
give and give.
He was a builder, and he played the mini tours, and he did running water. He got running water to the village.
Wow.
So I mean, that was a big step. We take it for granted. They didn't have running water, so he was getting that, so the doctors would have the water to treat the patients and get people healthy. So it's a lot of things.
I want people to realize, Chris is going down there with his staff. I don't think it's going to be like a Holiday Inn Express. It's going to be a little thatchier roofed than that, I believe. But now, how did you pick that particular spot? The Dr. Teek, is that?
Yeah, so as I said, Dr. John and I met on a trip a number of years ago, and then he's just partnered with a number of people down there, so we're having this incredible opportunity to go as an office this year. And we've actually partnered with another organization called Gear for Goals, and Gear for Goals is a nonprofit organization. What they do is they provide sporting goods equipment, no matter what it is, to different needed countries and areas all over the world, whether it's from Africa, or Dominican Republic, or Haiti. And we actually partnered with them, did a big drive recently, and we have tons of equipment to take down with us as well. And the most important thing about being down there, as Tommy, you're saying we take things for granted, is the look on someone's eyes when you
That's
hand them
amazing.
something like a baseball or a mitt or a golf club or whatever it is. They are so appreciative for that individual thing that it makes you actually realize how lucky we are here, and that's the best part about going down.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll
Take
tell you
care.
what, we are out of time, but I want to thank Chris from the Legacy Clinic of Chiropractor, Chris Kessler, not only for the fantastic information he shared with us regarding golfers like yourself trying to not only keep yourself positioned right, get your feet working, but also eating the right foods. And then, my gosh, can you imagine? It must be tough enough taking care of people around here and trying to maintain your sanity and going down. They're going down and they're doing missionary work, which I'm just It blows my mind. It boggles my mind. I can't thank you enough for
Thank you
joining
for having
us.
me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom.
And for
Of
Tom
course.
Lineberger and Chris Kessler, I'm Bob Wiltman. I want to thank you very much, and we'll be back next week with another edition of Playing from the Tips. I saw Craig. I mean, I saw Craig one reason to get mentioned. There's no reason. Craig. Personally, I think
Thanks, guys.
if we can get you off the president.
Of course,
That was good.
Yeah, yeah.